flying through the air.
Good evening, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
My name is Brian Pence. I'm a member of the Congregation Near to Mead Ward. I'm here to give you tonight's announcements. Next Friday, please join join us for CNT's Rainbow Shabbat on March 31st with cantorial soloist Zachary and their drag persona, Miss Lavinia Carr. At 6 p.m., there will be a Tot Shabbat featuring Rainbow Story Time, led by Miss Lavinia Carr. And at 7 p.m., Cantor Jessica Hutchings for a service filled with love, pride, and tons of sass. Also want to invite you to CNT's Sisterhood Baking Babka on Sunday, March 26th at 10 a.m. at CNT. You can RSVP on the website or calendar. Make your reservations today for CNT's Passover Seder on Wednesday, April 5th, 6 p.m. We'll feature our artist in residence and Jewish country music superstar, Joe Buchanan. That's not to miss, by the way. Joe's fantastic. And these typically fill up really quick, so make your reservations now. For pricing and information on reservations, go to the website or calendar. CNT Sisterhood will host an all-women's Passover Seder on Monday, April 10th at 6:30 p.m. at CNT. To RSVP, go to our website and or calendar. Again, welcome. Have a wonderful Shabbat.
want to hear somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to hear somebody pray. I want to hear somebody sing. I want to hear somebody sing. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to hear somebody sing.
All right, what do you want to hear or see or smell or touch this Shabbat? Myra, you have a good one for us?
I want to hear somebody laugh.
All right.
I want to hear somebody laugh.
Ha ha ha.
I want to hear somebody laugh. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to hear somebody laugh.
We need a few more chairs over here. So.
I want to hear somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to hear somebody pray.
All right, anybody else want to add their voice to this? Yes, Brian. Equality.
I want to see equality. I want to see equality. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to see equality.
All right, one more. Anybody else want to share their voice? Okay, yep. Justice. Ooh, I like this. Is a very passionate group tonight.
I want to see justice. I want to see justice. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to see justice.
All right. Oh, you have one, Bela, we have to do? Okay. Friendship.
I want to see friendship. I want to see friendship. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to see friendship.
I want to hear somebody pray.
I want to hear somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to hear somebody pray. Test.
Well, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. It's so nice to see you here. I want us to just take a really big, deep breath in. Fill yourself with all that stuff that was really yucky this week, that's really bothering you, that's sitting with you and kind of getting in the way of you experiencing Shabbat. I want you to breathe it all in, acknowledge it, and then breathe it, let it all go. Exhale it all out, let it go so that you can have a new week. So let's try it. Here we go. That feels a little bit better, don't you think? So we have a very special service tonight. Every service is special. Next week is very special. But we want to acknowledge the beautiful trip that our teens had the opportunity to take to New York City this past week to see the Jewish American Experience. It was a special experience, and I didn't really want to be the voice of that experience. I wanted our teens to be the voice of that experience so you could hear all about it. So tonight we have several of our teens here to share their reflections, and many of the others who couldn't make it, I have their words written down to share it with all of you. So we want to bring in Shabbat with the prayer from our hearts. We want to be immersed with this beautiful prayer song among us. We want to welcome Eddie, who's not usually here for Shabbat in the Round. He's usually here on the other Shabbat services. And we want to congratulate John, who became a grandpa again, and that's why he's not here tonight. And of course, we have Brett Barnes, and we have Glory Rosenberger, and our amazing Sheer Heart singers. So we are, and junior cantors. So we're so excited to share this Shabbat with all of you. And if I didn't have a chance, which I probably didn't, to say hello before services, please make a point of saying hello when we are done. All right. I want to hear
Somebody pray. I want to hear somebody pray. Down in the valley and over yonder, I want to hear somebody pray. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
how good it is to be together. Hine ma tov.
Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad. Hine ma tovu manayim, shevet achim gam yachad.
And so it is time to kindle the Shabbat lights. I invite Roma to be our candle lighter tonight as we bring in Shabbat. She was one of the teens that had the opportunity to go on our trip this week, so we give her this honor. We begin with the words, "Bring in the light."
Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. Hadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom. May you have a restful day. Shabbat shalom. May you have a restful day. Bring in the light, bring in the light, bring in the light of Shabbat. We light the lights of Shabbat. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu. Lehalig ner, lehalig ner, lehalig ner shel Shabbat. Madlik ner shel Shabbat.
And now that we've brought in that beautiful light, those flickering candles, we now welcome in our Shabbat angels. Shalom Aleichem. And if you haven't heard, the composer of this piece is going to be with us in just a couple of weeks for Passover and Passover Shabbat. Joe Buchanan. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. Baruchuni leShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzechem leShalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem. So early in my career, Rabbi Axelrod told me, I hope you're good with directions because we're going to take the teens to New York City for the Jewish American Experience Tour, and I'm not good with subways. And I had only been to New York City once before. It was a long time ago. I was like 20 years old. I went to sing the Duraflay Requiem at Carnegie Hall with my college choir. So I'd barely been on a subway in my entire life, and it all sounded very intimidating. But it turns out I'm pretty good at being the navigator. So that became my main job. Surprisingly, it was one of the most meaningful places to be on the trip. While following the phone maps, I would strike up conversation with whichever teen was by my side in line. I learned about their hopes and fears, their loves and passions. I learned quickly that the future of Judaism was so bright. And this year's itinerary concluded when we arrived home in Las Vegas at basically 1 a.m. on Monday morning after a non-stop weekend adventure. It had been a long time because of the pandemic since we were able to go to New York on this trip. We went to Ellis Island, the Tenement Museum, Crown Heights, a Jewish foodie tour of the Lower East Side, a Broadway show, Funny Girl, Shabbat at Central Synagogue, and lots of shopping and a lot more food. And it was all on foot, the subway, or by ferry. It was incredible and meaningful, but you don't want to hear a timeline of my trip. The wonder comes from seeing it through the eyes of those who we took this trip for. So we're going to take a moment a few times throughout the service and hear what the experience meant to our teens. So we start with Roma, who's here in person, to share a little bit.
Hi. So during my recent trip to New York City, I met so many fun people and learned so much about my religion. We had LA kids with us on the trip, and I made so many new friends that I didn't expect to meet. I honestly think it's one of the best and most informative trips I've ever been on, and I I've made so many new friends doing it. We toured a Hasidic neighborhood, Crown Heights. We went to the 9/11 Museum. We learned where our ancestors came from to start their new life in America in Ellis Island, and we toured the foodie part of New York. All in all, I really appreciate that trip, and I think anybody who has the chance to experience it should.
So a few other of our teens couldn't be here but wanted me to share their words. Some of these words you'll see are similar to the one before, but I promise you they didn't write it together. And some of them you have to dig a little bit deeper to see where the meaning falls, but I think it's worth hearing what they have to say. My trip to New York City connected me to the teens at our synagogue and also to the teens from Temple Emmanuel of Beverly Hills. We were all really excited to meet each other, all 18 of us. The fact that all of us were pretty new to New York and where we live looks much different made it fun to walk around and experience new things. And that also meant being confused on which train to take and when to get off. We visited Crown Heights, which was really eye-opening to see how Hasidic Jews live and their customs versus ours. We visited Ellis Island, which was really interesting, learning about my friends and their families' immigration. And I also enjoyed going to many different restaurants and trying new foods, like at Korean Hot Pot and the Jewish Lower East Side foodie tour. The people from our sister synagogue in LA are so much fun, and I'm really glad we got to meet them and spend time together. Next time we go to LA, I can't wait to see them again in person instead of just in our Snapchat group. And that was words from Kylie Polis. Abby Haggerty said, "My trip to New York with the tribe is something I would never change. I loved going to the Tenement Museum. I had so much fun learning how Jews lived way back in the day, and realizing what they would have to do on a day-to-day basis was really eye-opening and changed my perspective on my privilege in regards to how we live on a daily basis. Meeting the other group from LA was such a blast. I feel like I really crawled out of my shell and made some great new friends. This trip is something I will remember forever and memories that will last me a lifetime." So we'll hear more. Our next teen will be Douglas after a few more prayers, so be ready, Douglas. So we turn to our call to worship, our Baruch Hu prayer, and we rise and face the ark.
Baruch night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night.
Please be seated. And you shall love,
You shall love
Adonai, with
Adonai
all your soul,
with all your soul
and all your
and
mind.
all your mind.
Teach these words,
Teach these words
day and night,
day and
to
night
all your children,
to all your
for
children.
it's their right,
For it's their right.
and wear them
Proudly as a sign upon your hand, and as a crown above your eyes.
and
You shall write them on the doorpost of your house
and on your gates throughout all time. And you shall love,
And you shall love
Adonai, with
Adonai
all your soul,
with all your soul
and all your
and
mind.
all your might.
Teach these words,
Teach these
day
words
and night,
day and
to all
night
your children,
to all your
for it's
children.
their right,
For it's their right.
wear them
Proudly as a sign upon your hand,
and as a crown above your eyes.
and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates throughout all time.
Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, and the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness. There is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Who is like you? Adonai.
Who is like you? Adonai.
voices. I like it. I like it. So we ask God to shelter us as we lie down tonight, to protect us. We ask for that ineffable energy that is the Holy God to be our blanket, our pillow, that sense of comfort and strength, that place where we feel safe.
They knew Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, Lehamidenu Shomreinu leShayim, Lehaim, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomeh, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomeh. When I lay my head down tonight beneath your shelter of everlasting light, God, may I wake to a world renewed, filled with love and gratitude, filled with love and gratitude. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, Lehamidenu Shomreinu leHaim, Lehaim, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomeh, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot, Sukkot Shlomeh.
My trip to New York City connected me to the people, as this trip gave me a way to experience Jewish life outside of Las Vegas and in a highly populated Jewish city. I got to experience Crown Heights and how strict the families there kept kosher by having 2 separate ovens and stoves to separate the meat and dairy, as well as how new wives would buy expensive wigs because they would have to cover their hair after they got married. I also got to experience how the male Jewish students would go to study the Torah every day and would study for hours on end. I feel like experiencing these things connected me to the people because I got to see that even though I live a very different lifestyle as they did, we are still connected under one peoplehood.
Benton, you're going to be up next. Sheldon said, "The trip to New York really helped me connect with Judaism. Not only did we see how many of our ancestors came to America and the process they went through at Ellis Island, but also how they lived and the type of foods they ate. It was truly inspiring getting to experience other Jews all around me, and having all of my Jewish friends with me made me realize how much I love being Jewish and how we are all tied together in one way or another. I feel even more of a connection and bond with everyone who went with us and with myself." Hannah said, "The trip to New York City is one I will never forget. It all started with seeing how my family got to America at Ellis Island to Jewish life in the city. I made deeper connections with my friends and even new ones. This trip deepened my roots in Judaism and helped to remind me of myself and who we are and why we have to protect our Judaism and never let it die. And I can't forget to mention the amazing Broadway show Funny Girl, where they incorporated Jewish affect and language. I am so grateful for the opportunity to go on this trip and ecstatic to continue my Jewish journey. Benton.
My trip to New York connected me to the experiences of my ancestors when I walked through Ellis Island. It was enlightening to see how my ancestors lived, and the experience made me even more grateful for the way that I practice Judaism today.
Ethan, you'll be up next in just a minute. So we turn now to the part of our service where we get to ask God for what we need. One of the things that we learned on our trip, we spoke to a rabbi in the Hasidic neighborhood, and he said something that really stuck with me, something that I didn't often identify or think about, which is that we pray to God. We need God. We ask a lot of God. However, God, maybe that's God. However, God is part of your life, however you see God, the holy presence, the creator, the ineffable energy. It's one of my new favorite ways of explaining it. That we need this, but that God also needs us. The reason our ancestors sacrificed on the altar in the Holy Temple, the reason that we pray today, the reason that we live in such a way that we are serving God. We're supposed to. It goes both ways. We need to be needed. God needs to be needed, and we need to be needed. And so as we turn to our Amidah, our standing prayer, we usually say, Adonai, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Let me take everything in my heart and give it to you in this moment. And on Shabbat in the round, we say, Adonai, love me. Adonai, protect me. Adonai, guide me. Whatever it is you are here needing tonight, you get to fill in that blank. So we join together, and then we'll rise for our silent Amidah prayer.
Adonai, love me, Adonai, love me, Adonai, love me, please love me, Adonai, Adonai, guide me, Adonai, guide me, Adonai, guide me, please guide me, Adonai.
I'll just go with heal me.
Adonai, heal us, Adonai, heal us, Adonai, heal us, please heal us, Adonai.
Anyone else? What are you asking for, Alana? Okay.
Adonai, give us strength, Adonai, give us strength, Adonai, give us strength, please give us strength, Adonai.
Do you have one? Anthony? Heal? Okay, we need a lot of healings. We're gonna say heal again. All right. Love. Okay. Give us. Oh, luck. Okay. That actually works better with healing. Adonai, give us luck and health. Adonai, give us luck and health. Adonai, give us luck and health.
Please give us luck and health, Adonai.
Paul. Peace. All right. That's a good one to conclude on.
Adonai, bring us peace, Adonai. Bring us peace, Adonai. Bring us peace, please bring us peace, Adonai.
All right, so we rise now for our Amidah prayers. Tonight we do them silently to ourselves. We use the words that are on the page or the words within our heart. We think of the themes of our ancestors, of strength, of holiness, of worship, of thanksgiving, and of peace. When you've concluded your prayers, please be seated. If you're joining us on the live stream and you're thinking of someone who is in the bed of illness and in need of healing prayers, that will be our next prayer. And we invite you to put those names in the chat at this time on our Facebook or YouTube feeds. Community is thinking of Herbert Muskin, Sherry Muskin, Audrey Smith, Marilyn Goldstein, David Lerner. If there's anyone else that would like to mention a name or names at this time, please rise and say those names to yourself at this time. Sandy Berman, Vincent Rodriguez. We join together for our, Melchor Patino. We join together for our Misha Berach prayer. If you feel comfortable putting your arms around someone that brings you a little more strength, you're welcome to. If you're not comfortable quite yet, that's okay too. Ray Singer and Kim Rodriguez.
Help us find
So as we've learned and as we've talked about so many times before, it's up to us to make a difference in the world. We must pray with our feet. And so we turn to this very special Aleinu. It's up to us.
It's up to us to call ourselves to task, to sing what's good and true, to bring about redemption. It's what we were free to do. For what's the point of being here if we're not moved to change our ways? Hallelujah, Shabbat. It's time to live our praise. We are carrying the stories of the ones who came before. What stories will be told of us when we are here no more? We commit ourselves to action. It brings meaning to our days. Hallelujah, Shabbat. It's time to live our praise. It's up to us to own the vision. We are an answer to a call. Please rise. It's up to us to live the words we speak for the benefit of all. It's up to us to bow down deeply. There's a broken world to raise. Hallelujah, Shabbat. It's time to live our praise. Hallelujah, Shabbat. It's time to live our praise. Va'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. Please be seated. So again, if you're watching on the live stream, Shabbat Shalom. If you have anyone who you're thinking of at this time who is in need of, who you need prayers for because they are no longer with us, if you're saying Kaddish for them, please write those names in the chat. Anyone you lost recently or someone you're observing a yard site for or just thinking of tonight. So as part of our reflections, we have to remember those who came before us. That's the whole point of this Jewish American experience that we brought these teens on. And one of those difficult experiences is visiting the 9/11 Museum. Some may say it's not Jewish enough for this trip. And I have to push back and say it's very Jewish. It's very Jewish because something happened that the Jews would never stand by. But mostly it's because we lost so many Jewish people, so much of humanity that day. So many people that need us to say Kaddish for them. One of the most tragic events in our recent history. And this is only the second group of kids that I've taken on this trip that weren't even alive when 9/11 happened. So before we embark on the museum of where the Twin Towers once stood, I like to tell them the story of where I was. Because for as long as I get to lead this tour, I will have been 16 years old when 9/11 happened. I will have been getting ready to go to high school, to LVA, right here in the city, just like many of them in my group. And it's a picture this moment. I hope you never have to picture this, but because I was your age, I want to tell you my story and how that day was, being a teenager when that happened. Some of them had parents who lived in New York City at the time, and they've heard the stories. But it truly was so disconnected from other teenagers who I've brought in the past who at least were toddlers
and had that a little bit of muscle memory. These kids, these teens, have no memory of it. It's up to us, just like all of the difficult parts of our history that we have to teach in classes, it's up to us to share that story so that those memories never die. So I think for many of our teens, that was a time of the trip to step back and say, wow, just have awe and experience such a precious, sad, important moment. And I say that now because as we say Kaddish tonight, even though it's not the anniversary, it's a reminder for all of us. Someone might not have Kaddish to say for them, and so we think of them. A few more reflections before we get to our Kaddish prayer. So Atera said, "This trip allowed me to make new connections with people who I had known for the longest time. It gave me so many new memories that I will cherish for years to come. It taught me so many new things about Judaism that I never really realized before, especially when we went to the Hasidic neighborhood where everyone was friendly and kind. It made me realize that even though we have different lives and different ideals that surround our Judaism, we are all still Jews. We are all a people, and this trip has made me more connected to that peoplehood and to our history." Braden said, "New York 2023 was a trip that had a lot of meaning for me. It was a trip where we got to learn and understand our ancestors' lives in the harsh conditions then. I was able to have deeper understandings with my CNT friends and the LA girls. I was able to take a break and just enjoy the trip with an amazing group of people. I felt that I was able to experience a little bit of what a Jewish person may do in their everyday life when I was walking through Crown Heights. It was a fun tour because our group got to see all the businesses, a Jewish wedding, a yeshiva study full of men studying, the wig shop for shadels. I never knew that after marriage, a wife would get a wig worth thousands of dollars to be presentable as possible. The 9/11 Museum was probably the most influential part of my trip because teachers always tell us the stories and facts, but it isn't the same as getting a real life exposure to what history looked like. Not only did we get to see the museum, but we got to go and support many cultures, and we ate lots of great food. Going back in time and learning about our culture with some of my closest friends was a time that I will cherish always." All right, Ethan, where'd you go? And the last voice we will hear from tonight.
Going to New York with my tribe was something truly special. When we went to the Lower East Side, we visited the Tenement Museum where we were given the opportunity to tour the apartments in the 1860s where Jewish families lived. We were also able to connect our roots deeper in Ellis Island and step foot where our ancestors once had. I'm so grateful I was able to experience our Jewish heritage firsthand and also create special memories with my friends.
I wish I would have had the opportunity to take this trip as a teen, but I am grateful to take it as an adult and to be the navigator of such a journey. It's a hard place not to fall in love with. I think because we're Jewish and we see so many people that look just like us, there's no way to look Jewish, but there's just something, it's like we have like clones of ourselves in New York. Everybody looks familiar. I don't know why. There's something pretty special about that. Special about seeing a lot of kippot walking around, seeing a lot of just what feels like community. I think one thing that they didn't say was the opportunity for all of these teens to have their cantor, their teachers, their educators, and their classmates explore one of the most Jewish cities in the world. They didn't just hear it in a classroom. They got to place their feet in the footprints of those who came before them and pave the way for who the Jewish people are today all over the world. It is an invaluable experience. So I really want to be able to carry this on for generations to come, because this memory is so important. I want to thank the generous supporters who helped to sponsor our students and the parents who made it possible to dig a little deep in order to make this trip happen. And if you want to help make this trip happen in the future, we'll take your call. Let me know. It's pretty important. Next year, we're looking at the Jewish South and how we made our mark helping in the civil rights journey. Another really important trip for all of these teens to see. So we turn our thoughts to those who came before us. We turn to our prayers of Kaddish.
Who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. It's the son of the dreamers, from the dark place it grows, like a flower in the desert, the oasis of our souls. Come out, come back where we belong. You will hear our longing cries, our mouths, our lips are filled with song. You can see it from our tear-filled eyes. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy.
We think of the recent losses of Debbie Deacon, Jean-Marc Chaubert, Leah Kephart. We observe the yortzites of Charles Amira, Jack Bennett, Barbara Bertoldi, Ada Chaikin, Stephen Cohen, Julius Korn, Gerald Crone, Joseph Dandin, Jordan Dreyfus, Manuel Ferenz, Abraham Galprin, Helen Gordon, Joseph Gordon, Muriel Haytow, William Jones, Dora Klessman, Cindy Klein, Joe Corman, Louis Kaufman, Saul Levinshone, Marilyn Levine, Jerry Linker, Arlene Roman, Jacob Rubin, Helen Samuel, Michelle Schlesinger, Isser Sofer, Ray Lewis Tishoff. If there are other names of people you are thinking of tonight, please rise and say those names at this time. We also think of Paul Cranston. We rise to recite our Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal
V'yikadash Shemei Rabbah, Be'alma Divra Hirte V'amli Malhute, V'hai Hon Uvyomehon Uvayhe Dekol Bit Yisrael, Bagala Uzman Kariv Yimru Amen. Yeheshmei Rabba Mevora Leolam Olmei Olmaya. Yitbara Vishtaba Vitpar Vitramam Vinase. Vitaler Vitala Shemei Dikusha Barihu. Leila Man Kol Berhata Visharata. Tushbehata Venehemata. Damiram Bima Vivru Amen.
Yeheshma Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru. Amen. O say Shalom Bimromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom, Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael V'imru.
Amen. Those who sow in tears will reap
So thank you all for being here tonight. It's always a great thing when we have to add chairs. It's my favorite. So I'm glad you all found a seat around our circle. We want to thank again our amazing musicians, Glory, Brett, Eddie, and our Shearheart and junior cantors. We are so grateful that you all make up the beauty that is Shabbat in the Round. And of course, all of you. We want to thank Lee. We want to thank Carlos out there, our security. We want to thank Haley, our staff tonight, our shamus, Dell, Alex on sound. There are so many people that make services here possible. Next week, I'm sure you heard that we're having something a little spicy. It's going to be a normal service, just a normal service. It's just going to be co-led with a drag queen. That's it. That's the only difference. It is really an important service in all seriousness. It's a reminder that everybody is welcome here at Ner Tamid. Sometimes it's nice to see yourself on the bima, if that's how you identify. And so it's okay to shake things up. It's okay to say services can be fun, services can be authentic, services can be, however, and still have the sacredness of Shabbat. So we're going to have a Tot Shabbat at 6 p.m. We're going to dress in all of our rainbow colors. That'll be in our Beit Tefillah. And then we're going to have services with Raymond Zachary, who is also going to be Lavinia Carr for the evening. And that will be right here at 7 p.m. next week. So please bring your friends. Please encourage your community and let them know, like, everybody is welcome here. That is the message. It is a theme in Judaism. It is a value in Judaism that we are welcoming, audaciously hospitable, that we are inclusive, that we love our neighbor as ourselves. And so we'll have a little fun with it. I want to point out that Raymond is a cantorial soloist and very qualified to join me on the bima to lead services. I also, if you have any questions about it, because I know that it's not something we've done before, please feel free to ask, and I'd love to hear your feedback as well. Okay, so it's time for a little Kiddush and Motzi. So, Shearheart, come on up, and junior cantors. All right. A couple little side announcements just to put in your brain for a save the date. Passover is coming, April 5th. We're having our community Seder here, and we're bringing Joe Buchanan, our favorite country music star, Jewish country music star and friend to our community. And he'll be here for April 5th and 7th for Shabbat, if you can't make the Seder. And a little later in the month, we have our Tikkun Olam Gala. It's our brunch gala honoring Shelley Berkeley and Larry Lerner, so we really want you to come to that as well. That's on April 23rd. And on April 28th, our annual pop-up Shabbat with Disney's Jewish band, Mostly Kosher. So that'll be downtown. So look for all of that in the bulletin, in the e-blast, and on the website so you can get all the info. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen. And we conclude with the song of peace. We ask for peace everywhere in our world. Say shalom, b'roma. Oh, say shalom, b'roma. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Hu yaseh shalom. Alleluia. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace Shabbat Shalom, please, I think the oneg is in the lobby, and we hope to say hello and Shabbat Shalom to you. Have a great Shabbat. Torah study tomorrow morning, 8:45 on Zoom. I'll be leading. Vayikra is our Torah portion.